Josh Kutchinsky, the secretary, has been a writer of prose and poetry as well as about science and technology. Knowledgeable and passionate humanist, Josh is a trustee of the British Humanist Association, member of the National Secular Society, as well as secretary of the Central London Humanist Group. His measured and balanced words are able to get messages across and win hearts and minds, and I'm very happy to hand over the megaphone to Josh to conclude today's speeches. Josh Kutchinsky.
Thank you for staying in this rain. My goodness, I wouldn't. No, sorry. Anyway, speaking of abuse, many are the abuses of those who claim the authority of revealed truth. And the abuse of language may well be the, how shall I put it, cardinal sin, which underlies and attempts to justify all the other abuses. For example, it's a bit rich for the Pope, an autocratic sovereign reigning, as he would see it by divine right, to speak of the dictatorship of relativism. I suggest, if we're interested in truth, which we are, it should either be the freedom of relativism or the dictatorship of so-called revealed truth. Or when he proclaims the heroic virtues of an earlier pope who successfully negotiated, as Peter Tatchell said, the Reich Concordat with Adolf Hitler in 1933, which effectively removed all political opposition to the growing Nazi movement in Germany. I suggest again, in the interest of truth, that heroic should be replaced by cowardly. Laïcité positive, or positive secularism, is a particularly apt piece of doublespeak for us here today marching for a secular Europe. As the Pope defined it, and sadly this was taken up by President Sarkozy, it is in fact a form of integration of church and state that he's talking about. So for positive secularism, in truth, just read limited theocracy. Well, I think without any recourse to such double talk, I would just like to remind everyone that this has not been an anti-Catholic demonstration. We are, in fact, if I may be so bold as to coin a new collective noun, an enlightenment of human rights defenders. Gathered to proclaim clearly and unambiguously our belief in the virtues and pragmatic necessity of a secular Europe for the protection and benefit of all, whether we hold religious beliefs or not. I'd like now to conclude with a declaration of sparkling clarity, and which is totally lacking in doublespeak. It was formally proclaimed in Brussels on 27th of February 2007, just under 3 years ago, ahead of the anniversary celebrations of the signing of the Treaty of Rome. It is a people's declaration, intended when it was announced as the centerpiece of a campaign to head off organized religion, claiming an ever greater involvement in Europe's political affairs, and that the Christian religion is the foundation for the continent's democratic and ethical values. Exactly. The official EU Berlin Declaration celebrating the 50th anniversary reflected the success of this defense of secularism, as it contained no reference to God, no reference to religion or to Europe's supposed unique Christian heritage, as had been demanded by many, including, as you probably guessed, the Vatican. So, with your indulgence, here is the Brussels Declaration. We, the people of Europe, affirm our common values. They are based not on a single culture or tradition, but are founded in all of the cultures that make up modern Europe. We affirm the worth, dignity and autonomy of every individual, and the right of everyone to the greatest possible freedom compatible with the rights of others. We support democracy and human rights and aim at the fullest possible development of every human being. We recognize our duty of care to all of humanity, including future generations, and our dependence on and responsibility for the natural world. We affirm the equality of men and women, all persons, regardless of race, origin, religion or belief, language, gender, sexual orientation or ability, must have equal treatment before the law. We affirm the right of everyone to adopt and follow a religion or belief of their choosing, but the beliefs of any group may not be used to limit the rights of others. We hold that the state must remain neutral in matters of religion and belief, favouring none and discriminating against none. We hold that personal liberty must be combined with social responsibility. We seek to create a fair society based on reason and compassion, in which every citizen is enabled to play their full part. We uphold both tolerance and freedom of expression. We affirm the right of everyone to open and comprehensive education. We reject intimidation, violence and incitement to violence in the furtherance of disputes, and hold that conflicts must be resolved through negotiation and by legal means. We uphold freedom of inquiry in every sphere of human life and the application of science in the service of human welfare. We seek to use science creatively and not destructively. We uphold artistic freedom, value creativity and imagination, and recognise the transforming power of art. We affirm the importance of literature, music and the visual and performing arts for personal development and fulfilment. That's the end of the Brussels Declaration. I'd just like to add my own feeling regarding the pernicious cruelty that is perpetrated by so many who profess to believe in a forgiving and loving and kind God. As I said at the beginning of my speech, this doublespeak is what really undermines the efforts of the majority of people, I believe, in this country who are decent, want to get on with their lives, want to be kind to people and not cruel. I don't know where this cruelty comes from, and I would love to have it explained to me, but somehow all these statements, and particularly the ones of this particular Pope, seem to be inherently cruel.
Hear, hear. Yeah.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much for coming. I just want to add something, that Marco Trancino is the brains behind this whole event.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you all very much for coming. A special thank to St. John Ambulance volunteers over there. Jean, Jamie, Paul, Vicky, Lizzie, thank you very much for making sure that this public event would be safe in case of any emergency.
Let's thank the police as well.
I would like to thank all the members of the Metropolitan Police who have worked to protect us from many dangers. In particular, many thanks to the police constable Chris Nanda, who has been working for the second year at the operational planning of this event. Thank you, and thanks to all of you on duty today. Many thanks to all the volunteers that have worked as stewards for the march, cooperating with the Metropolitan Police. Thank you. Special thanks to the photographers, to Alessandro Convertini, to Patrizia Baldini for her support as a designer, for flyers and banners, including this one, which I think is absolutely great. Thank you, Patrizia. Thanks to all that couldn't come, all the people that would have liked to come, but that couldn't make it, and that have sent us messages of support. In particular, I've promised to Central London Humanist member John, unable to come for mobility problems, to send you today his message, which is: contraception may be used on every conceivable occasion.